The moment you stop fighting is the moment you lose. But as long as you keep moving, the chance to win is still alive. Think about that. How many times have you been close to walking away when all you really needed was one more push? How many opportunities slipped because you convinced yourself it was over too soon? The truth is, most people never fail. They just stop trying before the finish line. This message is about refusing to settle. It's about realizing that setbacks are not the end. Slow progress is still progress, and every day you continue adds weight to your future victory. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stay in the fight. If you've been tired, discouraged, or tempted to quit, this will remind you that your story isn't finished. Stay here, because what you'll hear today might be the reason you decide to keep going. Number 1, face the truth that no one will save you. You have to face the truth that no one will save you. This is the hardest lesson for many people, but it is the most liberating one once you accept it. People often wait for someone else to show up, to open the door, to give them the opportunity, to lift them up, to notice their effort. They sit back, they delay action. They imagine that maybe a teacher, a boss, a friend, a partner, or even luck will come in and turn everything around. But life does not work that way. Nobody is coming. Nobody is going to carry you to success. You must step forward for yourself. This is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to wake you up. Think about the times you wish someone would recognize your struggle and give you the hand you were hoping for. Did it happen? Maybe sometimes, but not often enough. The reality is, every person is busy fighting their own battles. Every person has their own worries, their own stress, their own life to manage. Even the ones who love you cannot live your life for you. That responsibility is yours. And once you fully accept that, you begin to take back your power. When you stop waiting for a savior, you start looking inside. You see that the only one who can move you forward is you. This may feel heavy at first because it places the weight on your shoulders. But it is also freeing because it means the solution is always in your hands. You don't need to wait for the world to change. You don't need to wait for approval. You don't need permission. You just need to act. Look at your life right now. If you are not where you want to be, it is not because someone refused to rescue you. It is because you haven't stepped fully into ownership of your choices. That is tough to admit, but it is also empowering because if you caused it, you can change it. If you are responsible, then you are capable of turning it around. That is the truth that transforms lives. Many people grow up believing that life owes them something. They think, if I just try a little, someone will notice and reward me. Or, if I keep struggling, maybe someday someone will see my pain and pull me out. But reality is cold and direct. Life does not reward effort without results. The world notices what you deliver, not what you intended, and no one can deliver for you. Only you can. The day you stop expecting rescue is the day you finally start building strength. Because now you understand that no one will fight your battles. No one will put in your hours. No one will wake up early for you. No one will take your risks. Every victory that you want is tied directly to your personal decisions. That is not negative news. That is the most positive news you can hear because it means you are in control of what happens next. Think of the people you admire most. The leaders, the achievers, the examples of success. Did they have someone save them? Or did they carry themselves through challenges that looked impossible? Most of them had less help than you do right now. They had fewer resources, fewer tools, fewer advantages. But they did not sit waiting for someone to show up. They made a decision that they would fight their way through no matter how long it took. They decided that if nobody else was going to lift them up, then they would lift themselves. That is why we admire them today. You must come to that same decision. Stop imagining that someone else is responsible for your happiness. Stop blaming your parents, your boss, your friends, or your circumstances. None of them will save you because none of them can live your life for you. When you hold on to blame, you waste energy. When you accept ownership, you unlock energy. That energy is what drives change. Face the truth. No one is losing sleep over whether you succeed or not. Most people are too focused on themselves. That means if you fail, the world keeps moving. If you win, the world keeps moving. The difference is how you live your own life. Are you willing to let your story end because you waited for someone to come fix it? Or are you willing to face the fact that this is on you and take control of the outcome? Every time you hesitate and wait for help, you lose time. Every time you put responsibility in someone else's hands, you delay your progress. And time does not come back. Regret builds fast when you realize years passed while you were waiting for a savior who never came. You must break that pattern today. You must say to yourself, I am responsible. I will carry this. I will do what it takes. Yes, you will feel fear when you take responsibility. That is normal. But fear is not a signal to stop. Fear is a signal that you are doing something real. Nobody else can feel your fear for you. Nobody else can step through it for you. It is yours to face and yours to overcome. Every time you walk into fear and act anyway, you build strength that makes you unstoppable. Responsibility is not easy. Ownership is not easy. But waiting is harder. Depending on others is harder. Being disappointed again and again because no one shows up is harder. Choose the hard that builds you, not the hard that breaks you. Choose the responsibility that gives you power, not the waiting that drains it. Some people will tell you that they care, and they do. But caring and saving are different. They may support you, they may encourage you, but they cannot carry you to the finish line. Only you can do that. Once you understand this, you stop asking for pity. You stop asking for someone else to solve it. You stop playing the role of a victim. You become the builder of your own life. And that is when things change. Because when you fully own it, your mind shifts. You stop wasting energy on excuses. You stop waiting for opportunities to be handed to you. You start creating them. You stop asking for someone else's validation. You start trusting your own judgment. You stop leaning on others to motivate you. You start demanding more from yourself. It is not easy to say no one is coming, but it is necessary. Because once you say it, you stop waiting and you start working. Once you say it, you stop hoping for rescue and you start planning for results. Once you say it, you stop handing power to others and you take it back for yourself. That is the shift that separates people who win from people who never get started. So remember this truth every day. Nobody will save you. Nobody will give you the life you want. Nobody will fight your fight. That is your role. That is your mission. And when you finally accept that, you will stop looking around for help and you will look in the mirror and realize you are enough. You have what it takes. You just have to decide to use it. From this moment, stop waiting. Start acting. From this moment, stop blaming. Start building. From this moment, stop asking for someone else to carry you. Start carrying yourself. Because the truth is simple and undeniable. It's not over until you win. But you will never win if you wait for someone else to save you. Take responsibility, face the truth, and move forward with power. That is how you win. Number 2, stop waiting because time will not wait back. Every hour that passes is gone forever. Every day that slips by is one less chance to do what matters most to you. Time moves forward with or without your permission, and it has no pause button. Many people spend their lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for motivation, waiting for approval, waiting until they feel ready. But while they are waiting, the clock is moving, and life is moving with it. If you think about your own life, you know there have been moments when you delayed action because you believed tomorrow would be safer, tomorrow would be easier, or tomorrow would be the right time. And then you woke up months later and realized tomorrow never came. The plans were still just plans. The dreams were still just dreams. The opportunities had passed, and all you had left was regret for not starting sooner. That is the price of waiting. The truth is simple. There will never be a perfect time. Waiting for perfection is a lie your mind tells you to protect you from discomfort. But discomfort is exactly where growth begins. You may say to yourself, I will start when I have more money, or I will begin when I feel more confident, or I will act when circumstances are better. But the world does not pause until you feel ready. The days keep moving, and while you hesitate, someone else is acting. Someone else is gaining ground. Someone else is claiming the opportunities that could have been yours. You must understand how precious time really island. Once today ends, it will never return. You can make more money, you can find new chances, but you cannot get back the time you lost. Waiting becomes one of the most costly mistakes in life because you are trading the only resource you can never replace. The years slip by quietly, and by the time you look back, you wonder where they went. Stop telling yourself you have unlimited time. You do not. None of us do. The harsh truth is that life is shorter than we think. You cannot treat it like a rehearsal. This is the real thing, and every decision you delay is shaping your future, whether you like it or not. The goals you want to achieve, the life you want to build, the person you want to become, all of it depends on what you choose to do with the hours you are living right now. Think about the small things you keep postponing. A conversation you need to have, a habit you need to build, a task you need to complete. Each delay piles up until your life is crowded with unfinished actions. That weight grows heavy, and you start feeling stuck. You wonder why nothing is changing, but the reason is simple. Nothing changes when you wait. Everything changes when you act. You do not need to know every step of the journey to begin. You only need to take the first one today. Action creates clarity. Waiting creates confusion. When you act, you gain feedback. You learn, you adjust, you grow. When you wait, you stay in the same place with the same questions and the same fears. The difference between people who succeed and those who stay stuck is not talent or intelligence. It is the decision to stop waiting and start moving. Time has no sympathy for excuses. You may feel tired, scared, or unsure, but the clock keeps ticking anyway. If you do nothing, time passes. If you do something, time passes. The only difference is what you have to show for it when it's gone. Think about that the next time you tell yourself you will start tomorrow. Tomorrow is not promised. You only have today. The people who achieve real progress understand this deeply. They don't waste time wondering if conditions are perfect. They use whatever they have right now. They don't make excuses about being too young or too old. They don't complain about not having enough resources. They take what's in front of them and move forward because they know the days are slipping away and will never come back. Stop waiting for external approval. Nobody's going to give you permission to chase your goals. If you wait for someone to validate you, you'll be waiting your whole life. The only permission you need is your own. Time is moving whether people believe in you or not. Do you really want to live your life based on the opinions of others while your own future fades away? There will always be fear. There will always be uncertainty. But those who win are the ones who act in spite of it. If you think back to times when you hesitated, you'll remember the uneasy feeling of watching an opportunity slip away because you didn't step forward. That sting of regret stays longer than the discomfort of trying and failing. Failing costs less than waiting. Because when you fail, you can learn and try again. When you wait, you lose time and gain nothing. Every minute is a decision. You are either moving toward your goals or you are standing still while time carries you away. Standing still feels safe, but it is the most dangerous choice because it guarantees nothing will change. The world does not stop to let you catch up. If you do not take action, you fall behind. The only way to move forward is to begin now. Think about your future self 5 years from now. That person will either thank you for starting today or resent you for wasting more time. Imagine the relief you will feel when you know you used every day wisely. Now imagine the pain of realizing you wasted another year waiting for the right moment. Which feeling do you want? That choice is being made right now. Waiting is built on hope without action. Hope alone will not build your life. Action does. You cannot sit back hoping time will pause for you. It won't. The truth is blunt. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. Waiting builds hesitation, and hesitation builds fear. The way to break that cycle is to act immediately, no matter how small the step. Every time you delay, you train your mind to believe it's okay to put things off. But every time you take action, you train your mind to believe you are in control. This builds momentum, and momentum creates change. Time rewards the one who moves, not the one who waits. You do not need to rush recklessly, but you must stop postponing what matters. Start the project. Learn the skill, make the call, write the words, build the habit. Time will not come back for you, so you must use it while you have it. Life is not measured only by years, it is measured by what you did with them. Don't let your years be filled with empty waiting. Fill them with action, with growth, with progress. That is how you make time count. Stop waiting because time will not wait back. Your future is being shaped right now by the choices you make in these hours. Do not waste them. Step forward. Act today. Take control of your time, because it is the only resource you cannot earn again. If you want to win, you must move now, because tomorrow may be too late. Number 3, break the habit of quitting when life gets hard. This one decision separates people who build something meaningful from people who keep starting over and never finish. Quitting becomes a reflex for many people. The moment things get uncomfortable, the moment results take longer than expected, the moment pain shows up, they stop. They justify it with reasons that sound reasonable. They tell themselves they'll try again later, or that maybe this path wasn't meant for them. But deep down they know it wasn't fate that stopped them. It was their own habit of giving up too soon. Life is not built to be smooth. Challenges are not accidents. Obstacles are not punishments. They are part of the process. When something feels hard, it is not a signal to retreat. It is a signal that you are in the territory where growth happens. If you leave every time it gets hard, you rob yourself of that growth. You train your mind to expect comfort, and the more you do that, the weaker you become. Breaking the habit of quitting means teaching yourself to stay even when it's uncomfortable, to push even when it hurts, and to continue even when it feels slow. Think about the patterns in your own life. How many times have you started something with excitement, but walked away when the effort became heavy? You start a new routine, you begin learning a skill, you chase a goal. But the moment it asks for more than you expected, you stop. And after you stop, you feel the weight of regret. You tell yourself you could have been further if only you had kept going. That is the cost of quitting. Every time you give in, you make the next quit easier. It becomes automatic, a cycle that keeps you stuck. Breaking that cycle starts with awareness. You must see quitting for what it really is. Quitting is not relief. Quitting is surrender. Quitting is handing away your future in exchange for temporary comfort. That comfort doesn't last. Soon after, you feel the sting of disappointment. You know you walked away from something that could have changed your life. If you don't face that truth, you will keep repeating it. The only way to stop it is to decide that quitting is no longer an option you allow yourself. When life gets hard, remind yourself that this is where progress begins. Everyone can continue when things are easy. What defines your strength is what you do when things are not. The moment you feel like quitting is the moment you must double down. Tell yourself, this is the point where most people stop, and this is exactly why I will continue. That thought alone will put you in a different category. Most people will never see results because they refuse to endure the hard part. The ones who break through are the ones who stay in the fight. Hard times are not permanent. They pass. But quitting is permanent. Once you stop, the momentum is gone, and rebuilding takes twice as much energy. Think about how exhausting it feels to keep starting over. You reset your progress, you lose your rhythm, and you waste the effort you already invested. That is why quitting is more painful than continuing. Staying is hard, but starting over repeatedly is hard. You save yourself years of wasted time by simply refusing to quit when it gets difficult. To break the habit of quitting, you must build a new identity. You must see yourself as someone who follows through no matter what. This is not about being perfect. It is about making a non-negotiable rule with yourself. If you decide something is important, you commit to finishing it regardless of how it feels along the way. Your feelings cannot control your actions. Discipline must control them. When you shift from being controlled by feelings to being guided by discipline, quitting loses its grip. Ask yourself right now, what do you want badly enough to endure the difficulty? If your goal is not strong enough, you will always find an excuse to stop. You must attach deep meaning to your actions. If it's just a wish, quitting will always win. But if it's tied to your future, your family, your pride, your freedom, or your personal standard, quitting becomes unacceptable. That level of commitment fuels persistence when life pushes against you. Another step is to shrink the challenge into smaller pieces. Sometimes you quit because the big picture feels overwhelming. You imagine how long it will take, how many struggles are ahead, and your mind convinces you it's impossible. The solution is to focus only on the step you must take today. You don't have to run the entire race in one go. You just need to move forward right now. Yours comes one action at a time. And when you see it that way, you no longer feel buried by the weight of the whole journey. Surround yourself with reminders of why you started. When the hard days come, your mind will try to forget your purpose. You must remind it. Write it down, speak it out loud, keep it in front of you so that when quitting tempts you, you see the reasons that matter more. The habit of quitting is emotional. It comes from your feelings in the moment. You must fight those feelings with clear reminders of your deeper reasons. You must also be honest about your excuses. Every quitter has excuses ready to explain why they stopped. It wasn't the right time. I didn't have the resources. I had too much going on. But if you look closely, you'll see those excuses are not truth. They are just comfortable lies to make quitting easier to accept. People with less time, fewer resources, and more problems have succeeded. The difference is not their situation. It is their refusal to quit. Once you see excuses for what they are, they lose their power. Breaking a habit means replacing it. You cannot simply say you will not quit. You must build the new habit of staying. That means when your mind says stop, you practice saying continue. Then your body says rest forever. You practice saying rest briefly, then get back up. Each time you resist the urge to quit, you build mental toughness, and toughness grows stronger the more you use it. Eventually it becomes automatic. Just as quitting once felt natural, persistence will become your new nature. Remember, the people who inspire you are not those who never face difficulties. They are those who face difficulty and refuse to quit. That is why their stories matter. That is why their lives stand out. You have the same chance. Every time life becomes hard, you are at a crossroads. Do you quit? Or do you continue? If you continue, you shape a future worth having. If you quit, you repeat the same cycle of regret. Breaking the habit of quitting is about respect for yourself. Every time you give up, you teach yourself that your word doesn't mean much. You told yourself you would do it, and then you walked away. But when you stay through the hard parts, you build self-respect. You start believing in your own promises, and that belief becomes the foundation of confidence. Confidence is not built on easy wins. Confidence is on surviving the hard times and knowing you didn't quit. Life will never stop testing you. New levels bring new challenges. If you think quitting now will make things easier, you're wrong. Quitting today makes it more likely you'll quit tomorrow. But if you refuse today, you prepare yourself to endure whatever comes tomorrow. That is how you break the cycle forever. So stop giving yourself an option to quit. Remove it from your vocabulary. Decide right now that when life gets hard, you will not back down. You may slow down, but you will not stop. You may struggle, but you will not surrender. That decision alone will rewrite your future. Because while others are stuck repeating the cycle of starting and quitting, you will be moving forward, step by step, until you reach what you set out to achieve. Breaking the habit of quitting is not about being perfect. It is about refusing to surrender when it matters. It is about holding the line when your feelings scream at you to stop. It is about proving to yourself that you are stronger than your uses, stronger than your comfort, and stronger than the obstacles in front of you. Once you build that habit, nothing can stop you, because you will never know. Number 4, force your mind to work when it feels tired. This is one of the hardest disciplines you will ever build, because the human mind is quick to look for comfort and slow to seek discomfort. The moment your mind feels pressure, it sends signals that you should stop, that you should rest, that you should put things off until later. But if you listen every time it whispers that message, you will never complete anything meaningful. Growth does not come from doing the easy tasks only when you feel fresh. Growth comes when you can keep going even after your energy dips, when your body feels drained, and when your thoughts tell you to slow down. Tiredness is natural, but it is also deceptive. Often you are not as tired as your mind tells you. What you are experiencing is resistance. Your brain is designed to protect you from effort, from pain, and from stress. It convinces you to stop so you can stay safe. But in reality, safety is not what you need. What you need is to build the power to work past that first wall of fatigue. Because on the other side of that wall is progress. And most people never reach it since they give in too quickly. Think about your own habit. How many times have you started strong, only to stop when you began feeling tired? You tell yourself you will continue later, but later rarely comes. Instead, the habit of quitting when you feel worn out becomes stronger. And every time you obey that habit, it tightens its hold. Soon your brain knows it only has to make you feel a little tired, and you will give up. That is how people train themselves to stop before they ever reach their full capacity. To force your mind to work when it feels tired is to reverse that training. You must teach yourself that feeling tired is not the end. It is the signal to push. You must practice staying in motion even when your mind wants to rest. This does not mean abusing yourself without care. It means not letting feelings decide your future. Feelings are temporary, but the results of your choices are permanent. The pain of discipline lasts for a moment. The pain of giving in lasts for years. Imagine you are working toward a goal, and you hit that moment when your mind says you have done enough for the day. What you do next decides your future. If you stop, you build weakness. If you push for even one more hour, one more task, one more page, you build strength. That extra effort compounds over time. 10 more minutes every day becomes hours in a month, and days in a year. That is how ordinary people create extraordinary results. Not by working only when they feel good, but by showing up when their mind says stop. Tiredness often comes from boredom or lack of focus, not true exhaustion. The mind grows restless when it is asked to concentrate for longer than it wants to. That is not real fatigue. It is distraction. If you allow that distraction to control you, you will never develop deep focus. The most powerful work you will ever do happens after the initial wave of tiredness, when your mind learns to settle and lock in. That state only arrives if you refuse to quit early. You must also understand the psychology of your mind. The brain adapts to what you demand of it. If you always give in when you feel tired, your brain becomes weaker at handling stress. But if you consistently push a little further, your brain rewires itself to handle more. What once felt exhausting becomes normal. What once seemed impossible becomes part of your routine. Forcing your mind to work when night is not just about today's task. It is about building mental endurance for life. Consider athletes who push through the final minutes of their training. Their bodies scream to stop, but they continue. Why? Because they know that is where strength is built. The same principle applies to your mind. When you push past mental tiredness, you are building resilience. You are conditioning yourself to operate at a higher standard than most people. That conditioning gives you an advantage in every area of life, because very few are willing to go beyond their feelings. There will be times when your body truly needs rest, and you must learn the difference between rest and resistance. Rest restores you. Resistance stops you from progress. Rest is intentional and planned. Resistance is the excuse that appears every time things get hard. Do not confuse the two. Too many people use "I'm need" as a cover for procrastination. In truth, they are not physically drained. They are mentally untrained. You can break this pattern with simple practices. Start by pushing yourself a little further than usual. If you normally stop at 1 hour, go for 90 minutes. If you usually read 10 pages, read 15. If you often write until you feel restless, add 1 more page. These small acts train your mind to obey discipline rather than feelings. Over, the habit grows stronger, and you begin to see that tiredness is rarely the real limit. You must also prepare your environment to reduce excuses. When you work, remove distractions that make quitting easy. Keep your space ready, so you don't waste energy convincing yourself to begin again. The less friction you have around starting, the easier it becomes to continue when tired. Build routines that remind you that your commitment is greater than your comfort. Think about what is at stake if you keep giving in. Every time you allow tiredness to stop you, you delay your future. You let opportunities pass. You weaken your discipline, and you reinforce the habit of quitting. Over years, this shapes the kind of person you become. You either become someone who can be counted on to finish, or someone who always stops sorts. The difference is made in those small moments, when you force your mind to keep working even when it wants to rest. Do not let temporary feelings decide permanent outcome. When you look back years from now, you will not remember the tiredness. You will remember whether you pushed through or gave up. And that memory will either make you proud or fill you with regret. Choose the pride. Choose the discipline. Choose to force your mind to continue. The truth is that every person has more capacity than they realize. Most people never reach it because they quit too early. You are capable of far more than your mind tells you when it says, "I'm tired." That phrase is not truth. It is a test. Pass the test. Keep working. Build the resilience that will carry you to results that waiting or quitting could never bring. Every time you do this, you take control back from your feelings. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your resistance. And each time you prove it, your self-belief grows. That belief becomes a force that drives every part of your life. Soon your mind no longer convinces you to stop. It expects you to continue. That is the power of discipline over tiredness. Force your mind to work when it feels tired. This is how you separate yourself from the crowd. This is how you build the strength to endure challenges. This is how you create results that last. Do not give in when your feelings push you to stop. Push back. Stay the course. Finish the work. Your future demands it. Number 5. Decide today that excuses will not guide you. Excuses are the small lies we tell ourselves to justify inaction. They sound convincing in the moment, but they rob us of progress. Every excuse you accept becomes a wall between where you are and where you want to be. People create excuses to avoid responsibility, to escape discomfort, or to protect their pride. But no matter how polished or logical they may seem, excuses never move you forward. They only leave you stuck in the same place, wishing for results that will never come. If you are honest, you can probably trace many missed opportunities back to the excuses you allowed. You told yourself the timing wasn't right. You convinced yourself you didn't have enough resources. You said you were too busy, too tired, or too uncertain. Each time, you believed the story, and each time it cost you progress. Looking back, you can see that the conditions would never have been perfect anyway. The problem wasn't the situation. It was the excuses you let guide your decision. Excuses are dangerous because they disguise themselves as truth. They allow you to feel justified in not taking action. But deep inside, you know they are holding you back. Every time you let an excuse control you, you weaken your confidence. You send a message to yourself that you are not capable of pushing through. Over time, this pattern creates doubt, and doubt becomes stronger than your belief in your own ability. That is how excuses steal your future. To break free, you must make a decision that excuses will no longer direct your life. This is not something you ease into. It requires a firm choice. Either you allow excuses to rule you, or you take full responsibility for your results. You cannot live in between. Once you decide, you begin to see excuses for what they are. Empty words that have no power unless you give it to them. Consider what happens when you reject excuses. Suddenly the power shifts back to you. If time is short, you find a way to make use of the hours you do have. If money is limited, you learn to start with what's available instead of waiting for more. If you feel tired, you push yourself to continue anyway. If you lack knowledge, you commit to learning instead of postponing. Each time you do this, you grow stronger. You train your mind to look for solutions instead of exits. That is how success is built. Excuses often come from fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of effort. By creating excuses, you avoid facing that fear. But the cost is enormous. You never discover what you could have achieved if you had simply tried. You never experience the pride of overcoming difficulty. Fear will always be present, but you must stop giving it a shield called excuses. Face it directly. Say to yourself, yes, this is uncomfortable, but I will do it anyway. That mindset destroys excuses before they even form. Another source of excuses is comparison. You look at others who seem to have more support, more resources, or more luck, and you tell yourself that is why they succeed, and you cannot. But Reese is another excuse in disguise. History is filled with examples of people who started with nothing and still built remarkable lives. The difference was not what they had. It was what they did with what they had. If you keep comparing, you will always find someone who appears to have an advantage. But that doesn't remove your responsibility. Your life is in your hands, no one else's. Excuses also become habit. You may not even notice when they slip out. You automatically explain away why you didn't follow through. I'll start when things settle down. I just don't have the time. I'm not ready yet. These phrases may sound small, but repeated over years, they shape your life. Fight a cycle of waiting. To break this cycle, you must catch yourself in the moment and refuse to accept the excuse. Replace it with action, no matter how uncomfortable. The first step may be small, but it is enough to weaken the habit. You will notice that excuses multiply when goals are ambitious. The bigger the dream, the louder the excuses. That is because your mind feels the weight of responsibility. It knows you will have to change, and change is uncomfortable. But that discomfort is exactly what you need. Do not let the fear of change disguise itself as a reasonable excuse. Instead, use the discomfort as proof that you are on the right path. If it feels hard, it means you are moving into new territory. That is where growth lives. If you want freedom, you must stop negotiating with excuses. Excuses do not deserve your attention. They do not deserve your time. When the thought of an excuse rises in your mind, cut it off immediately. Replace it with action. Tell yourself, I will move forward anyway. The quicker you act, the less power the excuse has. Action is the only cure. Look at people who have achieved great things. They had every reason to quit, every reason to justify stopping, but they refused. They decided that excuses were not going to guide them. That is why they made progress while others stayed behind. Success is not about who has the easiest path. It is about who refuses to let excuses drive their choices. Imagine the life you could build if excuses were no longer in control. How many projects would you finish? How many habits would you master? How many fears would you overcome? That future is possible if you decide today that excuses have no place in your life. You are stronger than the reasons you tell yourself. You are capable of more than your doubts suggest, but you will never see it until you stop letting excuses lead you. Every excuse you destroy becomes a step closer to freedom. Freedom to live the way you want. Freedom to create the results you deserve. Freedom to look in the mirror and know you took control. That freedom is worth the discomfort of rejecting excuses. It is worth the effort it takes to build discipline. It is worth the challenge of facing your fears. So decide today that excuses will not guide you. Make it a rule you do not break. When the mind says later, answer with now. When it says too tired, answer with keep going. When it says not enough, answer with I will use what I have. Each time you do this, you become stronger. Each time you do this, you prove to yourself that excuses are powerless without your permission. Your life will not be shaped by excuses. It will be shaped through the actions you take in spite of them. Take ownership, take responsibility, and move forward. Excuses cannot guide you anymore. Only your discipline, your commitment, and your decision to act will guide you from this day on. Number 6, take the pain now or live with regret later. Every choice you make comes with a cost. You either pay the price of discipline today or you carry the weight of regret for years to come. Pain is part of life, but you have a choice in which pain you endure. The pain of effort is temporary, but the pain of regret lingers and shapes your future in ways you cannot escape. When you push yourself to do what is uncomfortable now, you may feel the strain in your body, the stress in your mind, and the frustration of sacrifice. That pain is not pleasant, but it passes. Once it is over, you are stronger, wiser, and closer to your goals. But when you choose comfort instead, you trade that short-term pain for long-term regret. And regret does not pass easily. Regret lives with you, reminding you of opportunities missed, dreams abandoned, and time wasted. That burden is far heavier than the discomfort of effort. Think about the people you admire who achieved something meaningful. None of them escaped pain. They trained longer, they studied harder, they worked when they were tired, and they sacrificed comfort in the present to build a better future. What sets them apart is their willingness to embrace the pain of effort instead of the pain of regret. That choice gave them freedom later. Now think about people who live with deep regret. They look back and say, if only I had tried harder. If only I had taken that chance. If only I had stuck with it. Those words are filled with pain. It is the pain of knowing the chance is gone forever. That is the cost of avoiding discomfort when it mattered. And the truth is, every day you choose comfort over discipline. You are building that same regret for yourself. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is a teacher. It shows you where growth lives. It shows you what matters. Every time you resist the urge to quit and push through the pain of effort, you earn progress that will pay you for the rest of your life. Every time you avoid the pain and chase comfort, you create a debt that regret will collect later. You must decide which pain you will accept. There is no escape. Life does not allow you to avoid pain altogether. The only freedom you have is choosing whether to face it now with courage or carry it later with regret. And the earlier you learn this, the more power you gain over your future. Discipline hurts. Waking up early hurts. Saying no to distractions hurts. Training your mind and body hurts. Staying committed when you feel like stopping hurts. But that pain is clean and short-lived. It passes and leaves behind strength. Regret, on the other hand, is messy. It does not go away. It stays in your thoughts, showing up in quiet moments when you think about what could have been. That is why people in their later years often say their biggest pain is not what they did, it is what they didn't. Every time you feel the sting of effort, remind yourself that it is saving you from something much worse. Remind yourself that 10 years from now, you will thank yourself for choosing the discomfort to the workout you do not skip, the study session you finish, the project you complete. All of them build a future where you look back with pride instead of regret. You may think you have time, but time moves quickly. Waiting until later only multiplies the regret. You cannot get back wasted years. You cannot undo choices of inaction. The only way to protect yourself from that is to embrace the pain of discipline right now. Use the hours you have, even if it's hard. Use the opportunities you see, even if they scare you. Use the energy you can find, even if it feels small. All of it adds up, and all of it saves you from regret. Regret is not just emotional. It changes how you live. It steals confidence because you know you gave up. It steals motivation because you see yourself as someone who avoids hard things. It steals opportunities because you hesitate the next a chance appears. The pain of regret reshapes your life into one of hesitation, while the pain of effort reshapes your life into one of growth. When you face pain now, you prove something important to yourself, that you are in control. You show yourself that your future matters more than your comfort. That belief builds pride and self-respect, and pride in yourself is one of the meanest motivators you can have. When you trust yourself to endure discomfort, you stop fearing challenges. You know you can handle them, and that confidence carries you through. Every time you are tempted to take the easy path, picture the regret it will cost you. Picture yourself years later, wishing you had been stronger. Feel the weight of that disappointment now, and use it to push through the temporary discomfort. Let that vision of regret remind you why the pain today is worth it. You cannot escape sacrifice. Either you sacrifice comfort now, or you Isaacs your potential later. Either you sacrifice your free time now, or you sacrifice your dreams later. Either you sacrifice distraction now, or you sacrifice progress later. The choice is always between present pain and future pain. One wins quickly, the other stays forever. Do not think of pain as punishment. Think of it as investment. Every painful hour of effort pays interest in the future. Every sacrifice builds rewards that you will enjoy later. The people who live with pride are the ones who paid their price early. The people who low with regret are the ones who kept postponing until there was no time left. You are not too late. No matter where you are right now, you can decide to choose pain today instead of regret tomorrow. Start with the task you've been avoiding. Finish what you promised yourself you would finish. Stop postponing the habits that will build your future. Yes, it will hurt, but every step you take removes a piece of regret from your future. Take the pain now, or live with regret later. That choice is in front of you every single day. The moments when you feel resistance is the exact moments that define your life. Step into the pain of effort, not away from it. Let it shape you, let it strengthen you, and let it free you from regret. When you look back years from now, you will not remember the temporary discomfort. You will remember the pride of knowing you faced the pain. And because of that, you built a life without regret. Number 7, stand tall when people laugh at your small steps. Nothing exposes a person's true strength like the way they handle ridicule. People are quick to laugh when they see someone starting from the bottom. They mock your early attempts because they are not perfect, because your progress is not flashy, because your results are not impressive yet. But the truth is this: every big achievement begins with steps that look small, awkward, and unimpressive. If you allow laughter and judgment to shake you, you'll abandon your journey before it has time to show results. If you stand tall and keep going, you eventually silence every voice that mocked you. The reason people laugh is simple. They don't understand. They don't see your vision. They don't feel your hunger. They only see what is visible today, not the future you are building. Most people have never had the courage to start. So when they watch someone else try, it triggers their own insecurity. Their laughter is not really about you. It's about their fear of staying stuck while you move forward. If you let their opinions stop you, you confirm their belief that starting small is foolish. But if you continue, you prove that starting small is the only way anything meaningful is built. Think about a child learning to walk. Their steps are unsteady, and people smile at how clumsy it looks. But if the child quits because others laugh, they never learn to walk at all. The same principle applies to your life. Every skill, every goal, every dream begins with rough steps that don't look impressive. That is how progress is supposed to look in the beginning. The difference is, as an adult, the world is not as forgiving. Instead of cheering you on, many will criticize, doubt, or make jokes. That is when you must stand taller than ever. Because giving in to shame means giving up on your future. Your small steps may not make sense to others. Waking up earlier, saving a small amount of money, practicing for hours with no audience, studying when nobody notices, working on your craft in silence, all of it can look meaningless from the outside. People may laugh because they only measure success by instant results. But greatness is built on invisible effort, long before it becomes visible to the world. The laughter of others does not delay you. Quitting because of their laughter does. Standing tall means holding your posture when criticism hits. It means refusing to hide your effort even if others don't respect it. It means believing so strongly in your own direction that their doubt becomes background noise. When you practice this, you build resilience. You learn that you don't need approval to move forward. You don't need validation to take another step. You only need your own commitment to stay consistent. Many people will never take their own steps because they fear the laughter you are already experiencing. They remain frozen, watching from the sidelines, because they are terrified of being seen as small. But those who win are those who embrace being small in the beginning. They understand that ridicule is part of the price. They know that embarrassment today is better than regret tomorrow. They accept the discomfort of being judged because they see beyond the moment to the outcome. When people laugh at you, they are giving you proof that you are doing something real. Nobody laughs at someone who stays in the comfort zone. Nobody mocks the one who never tried. They only laugh when they see movement, when they see someone daring to change, when they see someone exposing their weakness in order to grow stronger. Their laughter is confirmation that you are on the right path. Instead of shrinking, stand even tall. Remember that the people who laugh at you today may be the same people who admire you tomorrow. Once they see results, once they realize you kept going, once your real steps turn into visible progress, the laughter stops. Some will act like they always believed in you. Others will remain silent. But either way, you will no longer care because you didn't begin for their approval. You began for your own future. The challenge is enduring the middle. The early stages are when you face the most ridicule and have the least to show for your effort. This is where most people give up. They let embarrassment control them. They want to appear successful immediately, And when they cannot, they stop. But if you can endure the stage of looking small, of being undersized, of being laughed at, you unlock a strength that carries you through every challenge after. You must separate your identity from people's opinions. Their laughter does not define you. It reflects their perspective, not your reality. You define your own worth by your persistence, not by their reaction. Each step you take, no matter how small, adds to your progress. The laughter adds nothing to your life unless you give it power. Refuse to give it power. Stand tall also means carrying yourself with dignity. Don't fight back with anger. Don't waste energy proving yourself to those who only want to tear you down. Your results will be your answer. Arguing with people who mock you drains energy that belongs to your growth. Instead, let your discipline speak for you. Every action you take is proof. Every improvement you make is evidence. Over time, your progress becomes undeniable. Consider how different your life would look if you ignored every laugh that ever tried to stop you. How many things would you have finished? How much growth would you have achieved? Now imagine what your future will look like if you commit today to never letting laughter stop you again. That is the power of standing tall. You stop living for the crowd and start living for the person you are becoming. There will always be noise. Some will laugh, some will doubt, some will even try to pull you back to the level where they are stuck. But your responsibility is not to please them. Your responsibility is to move forward regardless. That requires courage. That requires mental strength. And that requires a clear vision of why you are doing it. If your vision is strong enough, no amount of laughter can break you. One day, the same people who laughed will see the results of your persistence. They may never admit they were wrong, but you will know because you stayed strong. You endured their doubt, and you built something they could not. And at that moment, you will realize their laughter never mattered. What mattered was your decision to stand tall and keep going. So embrace your small steps. Be proud of them. They are proof that you are moving, that you are learning, that you are becoming more than you were yesterday. Do not let laughter steal that from you. Stand tall, continue forward, and let time reveal what persistence can create. Number 8. Refuse to let failure define your next move. Failure is something every human being faces, yet too many allow it to decide their future. They make a mistake, they fall short, they lose, and instead of treating it as a single moment, they carry it as if it is their identity. Failure is not who you are. It is an event, not a label. But when you let it weigh on your mind, when you let it shape your decisions, you end up living under the shadow of something that should have only been a temporary lesson. Think about how many people stop chasing their goals because they failed once or twice. They apply for an opportunity, get rejected, and convince themselves they are not good enough. They start a business, lose money, and decide they are not meant for success. They take a risk, stumble, and then retreat back into safety for the rest of their lives. What a tragedy it is to let one moment define the years ahead. What a tragedy it is to let the fear of failing again keep you from moving forward. You must train your mind to see failure different. Failure is feedback. It shows you what didn't work. It gives you information. It reveals weak spots. It points to areas that need growth. It is not the end. It is data. If you learn from it, it becomes a stepping stone. If you carry it as shame, it becomes a prison. The choice is yours. When you face failure, your emotions will try to control you. You may feel embarrassment, anger, or disappointment. These feelings are real, but they are temporary. What matters is what you do once the sting fades. Some people let those emotions freeze them. They replay the mistake again and again until they lose all confidence. Others acknowledge the pain, then use it as fuel. They say, yes, I failed, but that is not where the story ends. That decision to keep moving defines the difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck. Failure does not mean you are incapable. It means you tried something new and it didn't work the way you expected. That's all. Every skill you have today was once a skill you didn't know. And in the process of learning it, you failed repeatedly. You stumbled as you learned to walk. You mispronounced words as you learned to speak. You got problems wrong as you learned in school. But you didn't stop then. You didn't let those early failures define you. You kept going until the skill became natural. Why treat failure differently now? The danger comes when you let failure control your decisions. If you hesitate on the next move, because you're afraid of repeating the past. You rob yourself of the chance to succeed. The truth is, success is never final, and failure is never fatal. They are both part of the journey. One teaches you what to continue doing. The other teaches you what to change. Both are necessary. If you accept that, you stop fearing failure and start using it. Do not hide from your failures. Face them directly. Ask yourself what they taught you. Ask yourself how you can apply that lesson in your next attempt. When you do this, failure becomes fuel. It sharpens your judgment. It strengthens your resilience. It makes your next move smarter. But if you run from failure or deny it, you repeat it. Denial guarantees stagnation. Reflection guarantees growth. You must also stop attaching your self-worth to outcomes. Too often, people believe that failing at something means they themselves are failures. That belief destroys confidence. The truth is, failing does not make you a failure. Quitting because of failure does. As long as you are willing to try again, you are not defined by what happened yesterday. You are defined by the choice you make today. The people who accomplish great things are not those who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to let failure write their story. They refuse to allow setbacks to become stop signs. They turn losses into lessons and keep moving. Their determination is stronger than their disappointment. And because of that, they keep stacking experiences until the wins begin to outweigh the failures. Every failure you face it asks you, will you stop here or will you continue? If you stop, then yes, failure defines you. But if you continue, you redefine the meaning of that failure. It becomes proof that you had the courage to keep going. One failed attempt does not erase your potential. It is simply part of the path to mastering it. Think about how many inventions, discoveries, and breakthroughs were born after failure. Each one required persistence. Each one required someone who refused to let failure be the final word. You may not be inventing a machine, but the principle is the same in your life. Your breakthrough is waiting on the other side of persistence. You only reach it if you refuse to stop when things don't go right. It is also important to remember that failure is not permanent, unless you choose to make it permanent. If you keep trying, keep adjusting, and keep moving, failure turns into experience. That experience becomes wisdom, and wisdom increases your chances of success. But if you quit, failure becomes your permanent reality. That is the choice you must avoid. Many people fear what others will think if they fail. They worry about judgment, about laughter, about being underestimated. But the truth is, most people are too focused on their own problems to care about yours. And even if they do notice, their opinion does not change your potential. Don't let the imagined reactions of others trap you in inaction. You don't need their approval to continue. You only need your own decision to move forward. Your next move must be dictated by past failure. It must be guided by the vision you hold for your life. Keep your eyes on where you want to go, not where you stumbled. Stumbles happen to everyone. The winners are those who don't let them change direction. They get back up, dust themselves off, and continue. So ask yourself, will you let failure define you, or will you define yourself by how you respond to it? That choice shapes everything. One leads to regret, the other leads to growth. Failure is temporary. Regret is permanent. Do not let something temporary decide the rest of your life. Refuse to let failure define your next move. Learn from it, but do not live in it. Let it sharpen you, but do not let it stop you. Take the lesson, take the strength, and then take the next step. Every time you do this, you move closer to the life you want. Every time you do this, you build the kind of character that cannot be broken. And one day, when you look back, you will see that the failures were not the end. They were the stepping stones to everything you achieved. Number 9, choose progress every day, even when results are slow. This is the discipline that separates people who build a life they are proud of from people who give up too early. Most people want results instant. They start something with excitement, and when the reward doesn't come quickly, they lose interest. They think effort without fast results means failure. But the truth is, growth rarely shows up immediately. Progress is often invisible at first. The work you are doing today may not look like it's changing your life, but it is laying a foundation that will pay off in time. The question is whether you have the patience and the discipline to continue when results are slow. Your mind will play tricks on you. It will say, "Why am I working so hard if nothing is happening?" It will tempt you to stop because you cannot see visible change. But change often begins beneath the surface. Just because you can't see it yet doesn't mean it isn't happening. Every action compounds. Every repetition adds strength. Every consistent day plants seeds. If you abandon the process too early, you never give those seeds a chance to grow. The greatest mistake people make is quitting before progress becomes visible. Choosing progress every day means valuing effort more than speed. It means focusing on showing up. Not just on outcomes. Results will come if you stay consistent, but they will never come if you keep stopping. Small gains accumulate into big gains. One page read today, another tomorrow, and in time, you have knowledge that changes your future. One workout today, another tomorrow, and eventually, your health transforms. $1 saved today, another tomorrow, and eventually, you build stability. Each step is small, but together they create massive change. Impatience is the enemy of progress. We live in a world where everything seems instant. People expect the same from personal growth, but life doesn't operate on that timeline. Life rewards patience, discipline, and endurance. The people who achieve real success are not always the fastest, but they are the ones who don't stop. They know progress is slow at first, but they trust that consistency will turn effort into results. That trust keeps them moving when others quit. You must also understand that slow progress is still progress. Many compare themselves to others and believe they are falling behind. They see someone achieving results faster and feel discouraged. The comparison blinds you from your own journey. What matters is that you are moving forward. Your pace doesn't need to match anyone else's. Your job is to improve from where you were yesterday. If you are further today than you were last week, that is success. There will be days when you feel like nothing is changing. You will question whether the effort is worth it. That is when you must remind yourself that discipline is not about immediate reward. Discipline is about keeping promises to yourself regardless of how long it takes. When you choose progress every day, you are proving that you can be trusted with your own goals. That trust builds self-respect, and self-respect fuels confidence. Confidence then gives you the strength to continue even longer. Choosing progress daily also builds momentum. Momentum is not built by bursts of effort, followed by long breaks. It is built by steady movement forward. Even small actions done consistently carry more power than massive effort done once and abandoned. Each day you choose progress, you reinforce the habit of growth. That habit becomes stronger than doubt, stronger than laziness, stronger than impatience. Soon, progress becomes part of your identity. Slow results often test your patience more than failure does. At least with failure, you know something went wrong. With slow results, it feels like you're stuck in the middle, unsure if you're wasting your time. This is the stage that destroys most people. They can handle setbacks, but they cannot handle waiting. Yet waiting is where the transformation happens. You must learn to endure this stage without giving up. It is in this period of slow lowers that you build resilience. It is where your future self is being formed. Think of how many people have abandoned dreams because they expected success too quickly. They never realized that the process was working even when they couldn't see it. They gave up right before their breakthrough. Don't let that be your story. Understand that every day you persist is one day closer to visible results. The delay is not denial. It is preparation. Progress is building even if you can't measure it yet. One of the most powerful things you can do is track your daily actions, not just your outcome. Write down what you accomplished today, even if it seems small. Over weeks, you will see that you have done far more than you thought. This helps you stay motivated when results appear slow. It shows you that movement is happening, even if it's not dramatic. Progress lives in consistency, not in overnight success. Remind yourself often that speed is not the goals. Sustainability is. What good is fast success if you can't maintain it? Many people who chase instant results burn out quickly. They cannot sustain the pace, and they collapse. But those who move steadily, building brick by brick, create something that lasts. Lasting success belongs to those who value progress over speed. Choosing progress every day is also about building character. Every time you stay consistent, you strengthen your patience, your focus, and your resilience. These qualities matter more than quick results because they stay with you for life. Achievements can be temporary, but character shapes everything you do. When you build the discipline to keep going when results are slow, you are building a foundation that will support every goal you chase in the future. The truth is, results often appear suddenly after long periods of invisible progress. You work quietly, you struggle, you doubt, and then one day, the outcome arrives. People may call it luck, but it wasn't luck. It was persistence. It was the choice you made every day to keep moving. Without those daily choices, the breakthrough would never have come. Do not let impatience rob you of your future. Do not let slow results convince you to quit. Do not let the silence of progress make you doubt its value. Each day you choose growth. You are shaping your destiny. Each action is carving out the life you want. Even when you don't see it, the work is creating change. Choose progress every day, even when results are slow. This is how you prove to yourself that you are committed, not casual. This is how you build something real, not fragile. This is how you create a future that rewards you, not one filled with regret. Stay with it, trust the process, and keep moving forward. The results will come. And when they do, you will look back with pride, knowing that you never gave up just because progress was slow. Number 10, prove to yourself that you deserve the victory. Too many people want success without asking the deeper question: have I truly earned it? It is easy to wish, to hope, and to talk about dreams, but victory is not something handed out freely. It is reserved for those who show through their actions that they are willing to pay the price. If you want to stand at the top with pride, you must first prove to yourself that you belong there. That proof comes not from words or intentions, but from daily discipline, from relentless persistence, from the hours you invest when nobody is watching. Victory without effort is meaningless. Even if someone gave it to you, you would not feel the same satisfaction. The sense of achievement comes from knowing you endured the struggle, stayed consistent, and refused to quit when the road was difficult. That is what makes victory powerful. It reflects the person you became in the process. Every time you take a shortcut, every time you cut corners, you rob yourself of that pride. You may get a result, but you won't feel the deep certainty that you truly deserve it. Proving to yourself means raising your standard. You cannot settle for average effort and expect extraordinary outcomes. You cannot put in half the work and believe you should receive the full reward. Life is not built that way. Results are honest. They reflect the effort, the focus, and the consistency you bring. If you have not put in the work, you know it deep inside. That is why many people achieve small victories, but still feel empty, because they know they didn't give their best. The real victory is when you can look in the mirror and know you gave everything. This is not about competing with others. It is not about proving to the world. It is about proving to yourself. You are the one who has to live with your choices. You are the one who knows whether you were disciplined or whether you cut back when it got hard. The outside world may not see your private battles, but you, and your confidence is built or destroyed by how you handle them. When you push through, you build trust in yourself. When you give in, you weaken that trust. Over time, this becomes your identity. Either you become someone who delivers on your word or someone who always stops short. Victory is not just a moment. It is the outcome of hundreds of days where you proved to yourself that you were serious. Every time you showed up when tired, every time you pushed past doubt, every time you sacrificed comfort for discipline, you were writing the evidence that you deserve what you want. And when the day of success finally comes, that evidence is what makes the moment powerful. Without it, the victory feels hollow. With it, the victory feels earned and unshakable. To prove you deserve it, you must confront your excuses. Excuses are the easiest way to convince yourself you are doing enough when you know you are not. They protect you from guilt, but they also protect you from growth. You cannot let them guide you if you want to claim victory. Every excuse must be replaced with action. Every justification must be replaced with responsibility. Only then will you know that you truly earned the reward waiting for you. You also prove your worth through consistency. Anyone can work hard for a day. Anyone can stay focused when motivation is high. But real proof comes from showing up day after day, even when it's inconvenient. That consistency is what builds the foundation of success. It is what separates those who almost made it from those who truly did. When you train yourself to stay consistent, you no longer need to convince yourself you deserve victory. You know it because you've lived. Another way to prove yourself is by how you handle setbacks. Everyone faces failures, but not everyone responds the same way. Some allow failure to define them. Others use failure as proof that they still have room to grow. The way you respond to failure shows whether you are worthy of victory. If you quit, you haven't earned it. If you continue, adjust, and fight harder, you show that you are the kind of person who deserves success. Think about the satisfaction of looking back and realizing that nothing was handed to you, that everything you achieved came from your own commitment. That kind of victory cannot be taken away because it is built on evidence. You know the sacrifices you made. You know the hours you invested. You know the choices you resisted. That knowledge creates unshakable confidence. Do not fool yourself into thinking victory is only about the final result. It is about the person you become on the way there. You may not have reached the finish line yet, but every disciplined action you take proves to yourself that you are on the path. That proof matters more than applause. It matters more than because even when nobody sees it, you carry it inside you, and that inner certainty will drive you further than any external praise. If you want to deserve victory, hold yourself accountable to higher standards than anyone else would. Do not do the minimum. Do not wait for someone to push yourself harder than anyone else could. Demand from yourself the kind of effort that will make you proud. You cannot control how fast results come, but you can control how much effort you bring. And if your effort is undeniable, your results will eventually reflect it. When you finally reach victory, you will not need validation from others. You will not need them to tell you that you earned it. You will already know. That knowledge is what separates true success from shallow achievement. Others may cheer for a moment, but your self-respect will last a lifetime. That is why it is so important to prove to yourself first. So decide today to live in a way that shows you are worthy of the future you desire. Work when it is uncomfortable. Stay consistent when it is slow. Face setbacks with resilience. Eliminate excuses. Demand your best. These choices will build the evidence you need. And one day, when you stand in your moment of victory, you will feel the pride of knowing you truly deserved it. Prove to yourself that you deserve the victory. Because when you have that proof, no opinion, no doubt, and no obstacle can take it away from you. You've heard the truth today. Your story isn't finished until you decide it is. The road may be slow, the effort may be heavy, and the setbacks may sting, but none of that decides the ending. What decides the ending is your choice to keep moving. The difference between regret and pride will always come down to one thing. Did you stay in the fight long enough to win? Now it's your turn to make that decision. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. Refuse to walk away when you're still capable of moving forward. Refuse to let doubt or delay write your future. Stand tall, push forward, and remind yourself that the finish line belongs to those who refuse to quit. If this message spoke to you, come back tomorrow. Each video will challenge you, push you, and remind you that your best life is still ahead of you. And it's waiting until you win.